Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to T's Time. I'm TJ. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have brake bleeding on a 2001 Toyota Camry using the Motive product, the power bleeder. Model number that I have is upside down, model 0290. With this kit, it comes with a bunch of adapters that fit onto your brake fluid reservoir. So you just have to find like the right adapter for your vehicle. But before you do so, you want to locate your reservoir. Brake reservoir right here. You do have like minimum and then a max line. We do need to do brakes on this also, so I'm not going to keep it topped off at the max because I do need to do brake pads, and when I do that, the level will raise once I punch in those pistons. But first order of business is removing the old fluid. And what I use like a vacuum pump with a little reservoir right here. I'm using just like some windshield washer tubing on this. This brake fluid, do not get on your paint. It will eat up your paint. It's just real caustic. So even like with this hose, this might be a one-time use, but since I'm sucking it in and we're not doing anything with it, like I could throw that hose away and like if I need to just replace that. But just keep that in mind. Brake fluid is very corrosive to your paint, so keep that in mind. What I have, DOT brake fluid, DOT3, that is recommended for this vehicle. Usually you can find that on the lid itself or in the manual that comes with the vehicle. Recommended DOT3, so that's what we're going to use. But get the old stuff out first and then fill in with new fluid, and then I'm gonna show you how this works right here. This is definitely a lifesaver. It makes life a lot easier than actually having to have somebody like pump the brake to bleed. All you do is put your fluid in, fill pressure once you find your like right cap for your reservoir. Fill with pressure that has that constant pressure. You just have to keep an eye on the pressure to make sure it doesn't drop. But you don't need two people. This is a single person job when you have this. But remove fluid. All right, so I have this adapter plate on. I just try to get that sandwich so that way it seals. But what I did, as long as there's like a little air gap you could fill, so that's what we have. We have it filled right now at our minimum, right under it. But this will put a constant supply of brake fluid in there. You just need to make sure that you have a good seal, because if you don't, if you're pumping this, it's just going to constantly put fluid in there till it overflows, and then you're going to have a mess to clean up. So keep that in mind. But you just need the right adapter, and why I ordered that kit is just because it came with like multiple different fittings for different reservoirs. It's just about trying to match one up. There's like a European one. I know like the Ford one kind of works on some BMWs, but like the purpose of that, of getting the kit with multiple fittings, is you shouldn't have to, hopefully you have to get more. But right now the deal is just trying to get this sealed at this point right now. And a good way to test is once you have your fitting on, is pump this up, and then on here you do have a pressure gauge, so it's a good way to check to make sure your system is leak free, you don't have any leaks. So if that doesn't go anywhere, it just stays at zero, it's not sealing, or if it goes up and it drops, there's a leak. But you want it to be, the purpose of this is to hold constant pressure. So the cap or whatever adapter plate you put on your reservoir needs to be a tight fitting seal. So let me get this situated, get this tight, play with it. We do have, I'm using the flat plate, because all the other ones I have, they don't fit. Either like the diameter is too big or too small, and just like the type, it's just kind of like it goes on. There's nothing that screws on there, so just have to be mindful of that. Yeah, but let me play with this, get this tight, and then we'll be back at it. All right, so we have it set up, or yeah, we have it set up. I have it set up. I have it just on there. I have it sitting on this brake booster vacuum line. It's metal, but like you don't need to crank it like crazy hard to get it to seal, but it is on there. and it is sealed. I've had the pressure sitting there for 10 minutes now. It hasn't dropped, so we're good with the seal. So right now we could go and pump it up. You don't need like a crazy lot of like PSI. I usually hang around like 10 PSI on this, but like as we increase, like we will see like if it'll leak the higher we go up. Hopefully it doesn't. All right. Grab a little reservoir to catch your brake fluid. You could use this, or you could use like a water bottle and cut like a hole in the top and just get like some holes and put it on there. That's what I used to do, but I just decided to get this because it just has like the little wire to hang stuff. But like when you do this, you want to start with the brake line that's furthest away, and that would be the right rear. So we're going to do right rear, left rear, right front, and then left front. So that's how you do it. And I'm gonna just show you like the bleeder valve. I'm not gonna show you like the whole thing or like each one I go to. I'm just gonna show you the one. We're gonna go, you're gonna crack it open, you're gonna let it flow. But you want to stop and go like back and forth just to make sure the pressure is still up, so that way you still have that pressure in the reservoir. Like you don't want this to drop down to 0 while you're bleeding. Then you have to start all over, or I would suggest to start all over. So let's go get the first one cracked, get it on. And you want to kind of, the purpose of this is to get all that old fluid in, old fluid out, because it does hold moisture. Moisture, water causes rusted brake lines. Replacing brake lines. So you want to prevent that, and also like the braking power is diminished when it does pick up like that moisture in there. So just keep that in mind. But let's get the first valve cracked and we'll get this going. Once I get that first one done, I'm gonna go around and do the same thing for all of them, and we will be done with this. And then also you just want to top off your reservoir once you get done. Make sure it's at the full line. But like this is it right now. Get some cardboard down. All right, so this is the bleeder. This little cap, take that off. Like I sprayed these down like a week ago with WD-40 just to hope. I like PB Blaster better, but that's what I had, so that's what I used. And then you want to go through, and it's kind of best to check to see if you can get them all open prior to, but like since there's still brake fluid in the lines, you don't really need to worry about that too much. You just won't be able to bleed that one. That sucks. But I have broken valves or bleeders before, so just make sure you got a right size socket. You don't want to strip around that out. I'm using the 8mm. So remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. All right, so I got my little hose set up. Got my little oil or brake catch. Like you say, you just tie this up. And what you gotta do is crack this loose. That's cracked loose. I'm gonna use the open end now, so I have just a little bit more to play with. But you want to try to crack that loose if possible. Use a crow's foot or a 6-point. I'm using a 12-point. Probably shouldn't do that, but taking chances today. get a good angle for you. It's probably gonna be a little difficult. And you see it's going into the reservoir. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna do a little bit at a time. You don't have to get that tight, but just enough so it's not letting any more brake fluid come out. Let me get that on there. All right, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna stop in between, go back up front, and make sure you still have pressure in your bleeder. Right, only drop like one pound. So you want to do, you just want to keep doing that, going back and forth, and then just add more pressure if you need to get it back up. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing the rest like that. Remember, right rear, left rear, right front, left front, and it'll be done. So yeah, so once you have that done, that is it to this. And then I'll just show you how to disconnect the bleeder once I have it done. But yeah, just continue. And bada boom, bada bing, it's in, or it's out. It's finished. But we have everything situated. I got everything bled. We have some nice cleaner brake fluid in the reservoir. To disconnect this motive, the power bleeder, you want to leave the pressure in this first, because if you take the pressure off of this, it will force brake fluid out and you will make a mess. You will overfill that. So always make sure you relieve the pressure here first before you disconnect your assembly right here. That you could tighten that back up. You could disconnect right here and then remove this and you'll be all set. Just go through, double check, make sure you have all of your bleeders, your valves, all that stuff is tight. Clean up any brake fluid that you got in any paint. You should be good. I'm in the middle of doing a bunch of other stuff. I just finished draining and cooling. I'm about to get that situated. I didn't record that. I'm not making a video of that. But yeah, so it is possible. Even though I didn't have like the correct adapter, I made the correct adapter. This is like the universal plate. It just takes some time. Make sure you got in there, got that plate flat on there and tightened correctly so that it didn't leak. So that was the hardest part of this job. And just remember, start with the fitting that's furthest away and then work your way towards the closest to the reservoir. And that goes with like all cars. Some cars you probably even have to have start so that the brake booster has a vacuum on it, so it could like actually bleed correctly. So look up your vehicle's recommendations to do so and do that. So until next video, just keep building, double check your work, don't make any mess ups. It's easier to do things one time, do it right the first time, so you don't have to do it over again. I'll catch you next time. Peace, TJ.